there, welcome to another video. Today we are playing some more Tiny Glade and I am building a flowery garden area. Honestly, I went into this build without inspiration pictures. I just had some ideas. I know I wanted to have lots of flower gardens. I wanted to have a pond, a gazebo, and some sort of unique house. And I knew I wanted the house to be on a hill. So I honestly play around with this build quite a bit. This is not the terraforming I end up going with. This stuff right here is actually what I go with. So I'm just adjusting the hills, getting them to not be as harsh. And now we're gonna go back in, put some more trees, fill in the space a little more. I always like to take more trees out than needed. It's super easy to just place some more back in. And now it is time to add our little pond that I wanted. I did end up making it a river to a secondary little pond. Looking back on it, it kind of looks like a moat, but I think it's cute. It looks good. I really struggled with what I wanted to start with, but I decided to go for the gazebo. I wanted to place it near the river and around the flowers so you can enjoy both at the same time. I haven't built many gazebos in Tiny Glade. I think I need to practice a little bit more. Honestly, for my first one, not too mad at it. I kept playing with the size of the roof, adjusting it to make sure the gazebo was looking how I wanted it. I was also debating between the stone railings and the wood railings for the gazebo. I ultimately go with the wooden ones. And now we are going in with some props. To get the props, you do have to place a window or door and they will pop up beside that. So we placed some chairs and benches under the gazebo, and this is exactly what I was wanting. I also had a vision of putting the lanterns on the front pillars of the gazebo, but you can't really do that, so they just have to stay on their own little post. And I have seen a lot of gazebos that have a secondary little roof, so I added that in. Typically, they are open, but I wanted this one to be closed. I think it looked a little better. Now we're just adding some more stuff around the gazebo, the flower gardens, a few more trees, and we're on to the bridge. At first, I was trying to go for one of those super small stone arched bridges that don't have stairs. It's just a smooth bridge over the water. That was very difficult to create because I didn't want the supports underneath, but when you removed the supports, it changed the platforms on the top. So I did end up just going back to the stairs with a flat top. Maybe I'll play around with it on my own time and try again in a future build. It was just not working for me today, and I did not have the patience to continue struggling with it. Even though this bridge isn't exactly what I had in mind, it is still beautiful and adds so much to the build. Now we are going to work on some more pathing, and I'm thinking of going on to the house. It was a bit difficult to plan it out because I didn't have any inspiration pictures, but I knew I wanted this house to be on the hill and I wanted to have some big balconies at the front. And I wanted it to be a sort of Tudor style home. And right here, I make a little mistake. I wanted the patios to be perfectly parallel with each other. So I delete this one and place one that snapped to the first patio. So they are parallel. However, I turned my camera when I did that and it turned the direction of the wood planks. So if it's bothering you, I apologize. I don't notice until much later in the build and at a point that is too difficult to change it. So when I notice, I say we are going to leave it, and it adds to the character of the build. This was another vision I had. I wanted to have a big, tall staircase from the bottom all the way up to the main porch. I didn't want them to be connected, so the house actually breaks up the two porches. It is time for me to go back and forth a million times on the siding choice. And again, with no inspo picture, I go back and forth a ton because I'm trying to decide what I like the best. So I decide to go for a more L-shaped house. The right-hand portion comes out a bit more than the left-hand portion. I was looking at the house and not sure what I wanted to do with it. The front was looking flat, so I thought, let's put a custom bay window, but not before we go through and change the color of the house because I was not enjoying the darker color. And we had to make sure there was access to this porch, so we add a door, make sure the custom bay window isn't clipping into it, and we start adding the windows. Over the two corners, I connected 3 windows to give that curved feel. And then for the rest of them, I was wanting to do single windows, not have them connect to make the doubles. So that was a little difficult. I had to keep adjusting the windows very finely and deleting them if they turned into doubles. So I squish all the windows in as tightly as I can. I try to shorten the walls as much as I can, still fitting the windows in. And there is the custom bay window. I love it so much, and I think I'm going to be doing this more in future builds. Now it is time to decorate this patio here. Since I'm hoping to have lots of flower gardens, I was kind of thinking the person who live here may sell them or gift them to friends and family often. So I wanted to have lots of flower props around the build. It's time to move over to our main porch area. And I really like it. It's super cute and simple, but I felt it was too simple. And this is where the Tudor vibes kind of come from. I make the second floor a little larger than the first floor. And I think it adds so much to the left side of the house. I forgot that you could add these little Juliet balconies with the doors if you place it right at the base of the second story. And it is so adorable. This is also something I need to add into future builds. The windows on the front were a little difficult because this room was clipping into the right portion of the building, so I had to embrace the asymmetry of it. I'm going through adjusting a few things, trying to add a few more windows. I add in our chimney. Then I noticed the windows on the second floor above the main door weren't at the same height as the custom bay window, so I go through, adjust that, and fix some clipping that is there, and I think it looks a lot better afterwards. And now we are going through to work on the scenery, adding a few props around and going in with the flower brush to add our flower gardens. I go in and work on the pathing a little bit. At first, I was thinking of doing dirt mixed with the cobblestone to make the cobblestone look a little bit more worn down, but I end up going over it with full cobblestone. I enjoy the look much better. Here, I was playing around with some flower bed styles. I was trying to see if the flowers would clip through the bottom of the patio, but it sadly doesn't. So I tried the wall tool and it worked a lot better. However, it's a little easier to draw the flower bed first and then outline it with the wall tool. So you'll see me change that later in the video. I just kind of let this sit for a little bit and see how I feel about it. I was really trying to experiment with some new things, and a lot of them didn't work out how I wanted, but I'm happy I tried some new stuff. And I thought, let's add a ruined wall at the front of the build, add a bit more scenery to it. I divided up the wall to make steps going down instead of having the wall just be the same height the whole way across. I really don't know why I wanted to add this wall. I thought it was cute. It didn't end up making it in the screenshot, but it does add a little bit to the landscaping. Looking back on it, I should have added some flowers around the wall. That would have been really pretty. Oh well, I'll have to note that for next time. And now we are going in, adding the walls to our flower beds. You can see how much easier it is to outline the flowers with the wall tool after the flowers are placed rather than making the flower bed before. Doing this build made me really want some extra flowers in Tiny Glade. I would love if there were multiple types of flower brushes, maybe like different colors or different types. I think that would be so fun. And I add a little sitting area near the pond. I always think these are cozy. You could hang out there with a book or just sit and watch the ducks. I go around, add a few more paths, kind of near the wood storage area, just touch a few things up, add some trees back in, some more flowers and landscaping. And at this point, I wanted to add something else. I just wasn't 100% sure. And I thought, let's add a garden shed. If we have all of these flowers, we're going to need some tools to take care of them. And that's exactly what I did. I go with a simple square shed and a small awning on the front. And this location is perfect right between the gazebo and the base of the cliff. And I go in, add a few more plant-themed props, tools, and planter boxes themselves, just to give it even more of that garden shed feel. I'm just adjusting everything one last time, improving the pathing, and we are almost done. This is the final build. I absolutely loved creating something without inspiration pictures as much as they help. It was a great exercise to just do something on my own. But that is going to be everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on what you think I should build next in Tiny Glade. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!